After something ends, the mind wants direction immediately. It asks, what's next? But life doesn't always respond with answers. Sometimes it responds with space. This space feels unfamiliar, and unfamiliarity is often mistaken for being lost. But this is not disorientation. It's transition. You are no longer anchored to who you were. That chapter closed. But the next one hasn't fully formed yet. So you float between identities. This in-between phase feels unstable. Only because the mind prefers certainty over truth. Nothing here is asking you to decide. Nothing is demanding clarity yet. The discomfort comes from rushing this phase, from trying to name what is still integrating. Growth doesn't move at the speed of explanation. Most people escape this space quickly. They grab new labels, new goals, new noisy. Not because they're ready, but because stillness feels threatening when identity is undefined. But what if this pause is not a mistake? What if it's the most honest place you've been in years? Here, you are not pretending, not maintaining old structures, not performing a version of yourself that already expired. You don't need a new identity yet. You need space to let the old one dissolve completely. Partial endings create confusion. Full endings create silence, and silence is where real orientation begins. Notice how your energy behaves now. What drains you faster? What you can no longer tolerate? These are not flaws. They are signals refining your direction before your mind catches up. This phase strips away false urgency. It slows chimi. It removes unnecessary effort that can feel uncomfortable. If your worth was tied to movement, but presence is not stagnation. You are not falling behind. You stepped out of a race that was no longer aligned. The pause feels long, only because you are finally listening instead of reacting. Here, motivation behaves differently. It doesn't push, it whispers. It asks for attention, not force. If you try to rush enthusiasm, you'll feel empty. If you allow stillness, clarity begins to surface naturally. This is where trust replaces control. Not blind trust, but quiet confidence that life doesn't waste transitions. Every unresolved feeling here is reorganizing something deeper. You might feel invisible in this phase, less expressive, less certain. That's because you're no longer broadcasting identity. You're recalibrating it. This work is internal and therefore silent. The urge to explain yourself may fade. You realize explanations belong to identities that need validation. Here, you are not proving anything. You are listening. Let confusion exist without labeling it failure. Confusion simply means old answers no longer apply. That's not a problem. It's progress. You don't need to search for purpose here. Purpose emerges after integration. Before that, there is alignment. And alignment grows in quiet observation, not in pressure. This phase teaches patience with yourself, not passive waiting, attentive presence, watching what feels true when nothing is being demanded from you. If fear appears, Don't rush to eliminate it. Fear often guards thresholds. It appears not to stop you, but to slow you enough to enter consciously. You are not unfinished. You are in process. And processes don't make sense until they're complete, demanding clarity now. Only interrupts integration. This space is fragile, not because it's weak, but because it's forming. Treat it gently. Overexposure, overthinking, overplanning can fracture what needs time. Soon, something will begin to pull you forward again, not urgently, not loudly, but with quiet consistency. That pull doesn't come from thought. It comes from alignment. Until then, your only task is to stay honest with what you feel. Not to fix it, not to define it, just to not abandon yourself while answers are still forming. This in-between phase is where false desires fall away. What remains is subtle but real. Pay attention to what feels calm rather than exciting. Calm is often truth without drama. You are not lost. You are between truths, between structures, between identities. That space is not empty. It's alive with reorientation. Stay here a little longer. Not forever, just enough for clarity to arise naturally. The next direction won't need force. You'll recognize it by how gently it asks you to move.